Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of InRange. Today we're talking about curving the bullet.
Sweet.
Sweet. Well, actually shooting around corners.
Oh.
Because shooting around corners makes sense when bullets are coming back the other way.
Yeah.
And you don't want to expose yourself any more than you have to take a shot.
Long history trying to shoot the other guy without taking a bullet yourself.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you go back to World War I and there were these crazy trench rifles. In fact, you did a radio with Forgotten Weapons on this.
I did.
Where there's this crazy contraption with a rifle wedged in it and a rope and a pulley and a mirror and a periscope to fire a rifle from down in the trench.
Yeah, and there were a whole variety of them. Some very simple. Some actually had these elaborate lever mechanisms so you could work the action of a bolt-action rifle.
So like there was a fake rifle down here, you'd cycle the action and there'd be like a robotic arm that would remove the gun for you and you could aim it and look through the mirror and fire and get a shot.
Right.
And then later on,
useful they were for really making hits, but they were very useful for not getting shot in the face yourself.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yes, that's a very benefit. That's a great thing. Being not shot in the face is considered a better day than being shot in the face.
Yes.
So, anyways, in World War II, you see probably the most infamous example of this.
Right.
The krummlauf.
Yes. Where we'll actually, instead of trying, mirrors and redirection, we'll just curve the barrel.
Well, you do need a mirror.
You have a mirror, a sort of a prismatic mirror to sight the thing, but they actually took a curved extension, clamped it onto the end of the barrel. Interestingly, discovered that you don't have to even try to line up the rifling between the original barrel and the curved bit.
That's interesting of its own, right? Yeah.
And they actually had two different varieties. They had a 30-degree curve that was for infantry to shoot around corners and such, and they had a 90-degree curve that was intended to use in armored vehicles. So you could have a rifle vertical where it didn't take up much space, and you could turn it, and the bullets would come out horizontal.
To get the pesky Ivans off your Tiger tank.
Exactly.
When they're crawling on you and getting ready to throw things in there, you kind of want to get rid of them. Yep. So that's what that was for.
Yeah.
They came to find that those barrels didn't last all that long.
Didn't last long. They had a tendency to fragment bullets, which worked fine for, 5-foot range. But
I think it goes without saying the 30-degree arc or the 30-degree turn was probably a little better than the 90.
Yes, definitely.
At any rate, so that's World War II. A lot of experimentation with that. The idea is there. There's a mirror. There's a curved barrel. But the concept is to shoot around a corner. Not all that effective.
Right.
So then later on, the Israelis come along and they start to try to play with this idea too.
Right. They've got the corner shot, which we actually saw not that many years ago.
Yeah, now that one's electronic.
That one's kind of goofy too.
It's like a Glock in a camera.
Yes.
With an LCD display.
Yep, and a big extra shoulder stock so you can control which way the Glock's turning.
So like a pistol caliber carbine that you can actually crank the Glock around a corner.
Right.
And then use an LCD display to see what you're aiming at.
Right.
Very expensive.
Yeah, not very practical, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's other people that have tried this too, but that one came to mind.
Yep.
There was also some pretty expensive attempts with prismatic stuff.
Yep.
Where there's a prism back here at the rear of your gun, and you could turn the prism or you could look through it, but you didn't really have to do anything. It was just there, and it technically should work. Also very expensive.
I think there was really only one modern firefight where something like this was actually used.
Yeah, interestingly enough, but they weren't necessarily infantry weapons. They were the sentry guns guarding the medical quadrant on LV-426 during the Xenomorph attack.
And even that one didn't work so well.
Well, they ran out of ammunition.
Yeah.
But it did hold off the swarm for a pretty extended amount of time.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that was useful.
Well, unfortunately, those are not available commercially for us to buy.
No, and they're not even, you can't manufacture them after 1986. We're not allowed to own them, and they're not on the registry, so we can't possess them.
But we have this thing.
We do, and this actually came to us. We didn't come to him.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of this.
No, I hadn't either. So this gentleman from Finland contacted us and said, I like your videos, and I've developed this product, and I'd like to send it to you to let me know, or others, what you think of it.
Right. It's called a HideSight.
HideSight,
HIDE.
HideSight.com.
Yep.
And, well, interestingly, it's a revert back to the World War I mirror, krummlauf mirror concept.
Yeah. It's what's really cool about it, I think, is it is very light and quite simple. Couple of mirrors, couple of springs, one little Picatinny attachment to drop it in front of your optic.
Yep, there's just a little bolt right there. You can tighten this off, and it comes right off your Picatinny.
Yep.
And you can actually, it's a 30-millimeter ring, so you could have changed this down to a quick detach ring, whatever your preferred ring is.
Right.
It's got some springs on here that actually apply tension, so you can turn it, but it has tension will turn on its own accord. And that turning is actually important to the use of the sight.
All right, why don't you go ahead and show us how that works?
So what this is two mirrors. When you're aiming through the gun normally, you can just look through the hole. In fact, my finger will go through, and you can see the red dot sight normally. It's a little bit invasive, but not in the way. But if you need to shoot around a corner, you literally flip these springs, and the mirrors shift. And if you're a right-handed shooter at this point, the red dot's coming through this mirror, bouncing off of this mirror, and if you aim the gun right, you're getting an angle around a corner and you're able to shoot without exposing anything but the gun. This is the standard mode, as he refers to it, which gives you, I think it's like a 60-degree angle. At any rate, he also has what's called an entrenched mode, where you change the mirrors a different way. You flip one mirror, and then you turn it all the way around, and this actually gives you a 90-degree angle, but you have a smaller field of view.
Yep.
So this is your standard red dot view. This is looking down the rifle. The HideSight is not in play. It's just in between you and the red dot sight, and you can see you look through it normally and just use your red dot like you would at any other given moment. If you're going to use the normal mode, you flip both springs, which you can see now you can't use it from behind. You need to turn the gun till you find. So anyways, here we are in standard mode. So you can see when you're behind the gun, you can't see the red dot, but if you turn it to the right angle, there's the red dot, and we're now holding this gun at a pretty significant angle and able to aim around a corner. Now, mind you, I'm doing this through a camera, trying to talk at the same time. It's a little hard, but this is working to shoot around a corner, and that's what it would look like in standard mode. I'm not going to try and demonstrate entrenched mode through the camera. It'd be too difficult, but this should give you an idea. The rifle is actually very much at an angle, and we're still able to aim around that corner. Right, so I'm in standard mode here, which allows me to expose a very little amount of this rifle, and very much nothing about me, just my little bit of my elbow here, because you lock the gun in your bicep, and I'm resting it on the magazine, and I'm actually able to still aim at a target. And I don't know if you can hear that, but we're currently ringing steel. No problemo, very little exposure around the corner, all because of a couple well-placed mirrors. Yep. So you can see that I'm still well behind cover here, and this is the normal mode. It's the one that gives you the best field of view with the mirrors, but there is an entrenched mode that lets you hold the gun at a full 90-degree angle. You see we're not exactly at 90 degree, still enough to be behind cover, but if you need more, you actually flip both the mirrors. Actually, just one mirror, excuse me. Like that, turn it to the right angle, and now I can actually get a more extreme 90 degrees and still aim at the target. So it's a little tighter field of view, but if you need that real 90 degrees, you do have it. However, I would say that in most situations, you're probably going to use it in standard mode, which gives you a little more field of view, but really works just as well for cover. So, really interesting how easy this is to adjust. A couple simple mirrors to shoot around a corner, put it back to go back to normal firing mode. You're good to go. I'm really impressed with the HideSight. This is an instance in which a really simple idea is very effective, and I'm going to keep this. I'm glad that he sent it to us. We didn't buy it; he just sent it to us. But if I did not know about this earlier and learn from this, I would want to buy one because it's actually very cool, and I'm going to try and use this at a match occasionally. Time be damned, I'm going to come up to a barricade and curve the bullet.
All right, I don't know why you have all the Russian getup on, but that's a pretty cool rifle with it.
I have no idea either, just because it's an AK-74.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I bet they would have liked to have these in Afghanistan.
Oh, I bet they would have.
Yeah, a lot of entrenching on hills going on there. Anyways, so this is an example of where a really simple idea, a little bit of plastic, a ring, and 2 mirrors and some springs, and my gosh, you can actually shoot around corners with quite a bit of effectiveness.
It's a thing that's actually cost effective. It doesn't get in your way. It's not overly heavy.
Nope.
If you don't need it on the gun, it's easy to take off. There's no zeroing that you have to deal with. It's really slick.
Yeah, there's no zero change. You could take this on or off your gun. In fact, if you put this on a QD rail or a QD ring, which I mentioned earlier, you could pop this on and off as you needed it. I do find that with it behind the sight, it's a little bit distracting because there's mirrors there.
Okay.
They don't really stop you from being... It doesn't stop you from using the gun well, but it's just something you're not used to. I'm sure you get used to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you put this on a QD ring, you could just put it on when you want it, which makes sense too.
Well, anyone who wants some of those things should go check out HideSight.com.
Yep.
They have them there. But they're finished. They're shipping out of Europe. I think well, I'm not sure what the price is. You have to go check it on the website.
All I remember is it was reasonable for what it is, considering the previous offerings on the market that allowed you to shoot around corners.
Yeah.
This was, by those standards, cheap.
Yeah.
And I get it. And what I like is a simple, rugged solution. It just makes sense. And you could throw it behind any already existing optic and just go.
Right.
Very cool. Thank you for shipping this out to us. I'm glad that we can actually give it a positive review because, man, it's really neat.
Yeah, it is.
So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like this kind of video. If you do, please subscribe and tell your friends.